Today, something really special. We have probably the most beautiful G-Wagon Cabriolet that you've ever seen. I'm Joe Goetz, your Alliance Auto Care, nothing but G's, and today I present a restoration of a 1998 G500 Cabriolet that started life as one ugly duckling. Take a look at where it's at now. Take it in. What we're looking at, this is a blue from the Aston Martin palette. It's sitting on a stock height suspension upgrade, 20-inch AMG wheels. The stance is right, the look is right, everything is dialed on this truck. For those of you who don't know, who haven't been following along the build on this one, we've had a lot of build updates on Instagram, but this thing was taken down to the bare frame. If you take a look in here, you can see where everything's new. We sandblasted everything, everything's been coated, everything has industrial coating. Even the exhaust is new, it's all brand new stainless steel. Nothing was left untouched on this. Moving around the front, it is a 1998 model, but exterior-wise, we did a facelift. This has the grille from a G550 or a G55. We did the projector LED headlights to get a little bit more modern look and feel going down the road. And we color matched the uprights of the bull bar to match the rest of the paint. It is a really sharp truck. This is arguably one of the most beautiful trucks we've ever produced. Everything on this was touched. The other key thing is this truck used to be white with a red top. Now it's blue with a tan top. This is the exact same color top that's on the final editions. There's only 200 of those made worldwide. What's also really special about this is the interior. We'll get to that in a second. But moving around, the rest of it, even the brakes, even the axles, the stance, the more you look at it, the more you'll see the detail that went into everything. You can even see the exhaust on this side where we got rid of the factory Mercedes exhaust, and everything is full stainless steel. You can see the pipework, everything's TIG welded, everything's V-banded. Nothing was skipped. The real treat, though, is on the inside. Everything has this distressed saddle look. It is soft, it is supple, it is new foam, new leather, and we also have our dash upgrade, which puts the double-din head unit, the Alpine unit in there, and we reconfigure everything. Everything's been hydro dipped, everything matches. We also have a brand new S-bar heater. This truck lives in a very cold climate, so it's gonna have the ability to remotely keep everything warm, but the seats are just amazing. The leather work on this, everything, even the steering wheel. We went with the pistol grip steering wheel, this new leather there. And some of you may also notice that the deviated stitching on all this is just that final touch that matches everything. All the way down to the door cards, we ran a stitch across the door cards as well to match. So I really want to take a moment to showcase this because this is something that came to us as a really worked over example. It had a long life in a very cold climate, a very rough life, and there's a lot of rust, a lot of corrosion. And this is where we took everything apart. We understood what the client's expectations are, what his wishes were, and we were able to transpose that into a finished product. And this is everything he wanted, everything that he wanted down to the color, the stitching, the layout of the dash, the exterior color, the top. I think it came out flawlessly. And to answer the question, no, this truck is not for sale. Someone always asks how much it is and is it for sale? No, this is not for sale. This is a client's vehicle. We're just simply showcasing the workmanship and quality. We've had this truck for 8 months now, and we are at the finish line, so we are super stoked. It looks amazing. You're gonna notice the 20-inch AMG wheels. They are wider, they sit a little taller. We chose a 32-inch Nitto Terra Grappler all-terrain. Largely we wanted that look of a slightly more aggressive tire, as you see. We like these, they go down the road quietly, they look correct, and they have that kind of meaty look to it as well, so they behave very nicely. On the backside, you can see, again, it's all brand new canvas top. We even color matched the spare tire carrier to match, but everything back here looks pretty factory. The only change you're gonna notice is there is a subwoofer back here. So the audio system on this is fully amplified. There are high-end speakers throughout. We do have a small subwoofer in here that's fully enclosed, and largely to give you that full immersion experience. So just wanted to showcase that. There's a lot of different options there, but this, you know, it's one of those things that's bolted down, secured, no one's gonna take it, and it works very, very well. So new tops like this are very tight and snug, and we always need to take our time, make sure that they are properly secured. The Zeus fasteners are all brand new. God, that's so satisfying the way it works. Everything is so tight, everything is so fresh, nothing was left untouched, no expense spared on this one. He basically said, whatever it needs, whatever it takes, get it squared away. And I'm really happy to show you guys. We're gonna take it for a drive. It's starting to rain now, so we're gonna get out of here and go get some more glory shots of it. So this may be an odd thing to point out on this particular trip. We're taking this out on its initial test drive, and you notice it's really loud in the background. Believe it or not, it just started raining on us, so we've got about a 30-mile-an-hour headwind. So I'm going about 50 miles an hour with a 30-mile headwind, which means I'm going technically 80 miles an hour per wind resistance, and it's raining. It is really loud outside. So there aren't many cabriolets that can withstand that sort of headwind and still hold a conversation while having that sort of rain. The other thing that's interesting to note on this particular drive is this is my first test drive. My team has actually been QCing this and test driving it, and they're happy to hand me the keys and says, you know, there's only one or two things that need to be wrapped up after the fact. But overall, for my first test drive in the rain, with the lights on, the AC is on, everything's working, nothing's doing anything weird, I'm pretty impressed with my team for getting it this close to the level of perfection before it ships out. We're a week away from shipping this thing away, so we have a little bit of time. The other thing that's interesting and worth noting is this particular vehicle has come to us all the way from Canada. So if you're in Quebec or Ontario, we may still be your shop for you. You may still be my client. It doesn't matter where you're at in the United States or even outside the US. We take care of a lot of logistics. We move a lot of trucks in and out all over the place because this is what we do, guys. So this particular client shipped the truck to us. We did the full frame off restoration, and he's going to pick it up and actually do a cross-country road trip before it ships out. So that's a pretty strong testament to the level of trust and detail that we go to make sure that everything is dialed in and he's not going to have any issues. We're going to put some more miles on this and make sure everything is 100% so there aren't any issues, but this is one of the steps we take is we put some miles on it, we run through all the conditions and all the paces and make sure that it behaves normally. What's also interesting is my videographer, Blake, was also standing that just 2 months ago, this thing was still in a gazillion pieces. And that here we are driving it down the road with zero issues. So again, really impressive. We're gonna go up here and get some really beautiful shots in one of our favorite areas. But just wanted to show you guys what this looks like going down the road with the wind howling in your face, the rain beating down on it, and we have zero leaks, nothing weird's happening. Everything works pretty good. Pretty happy with it so far. So one of the key things about these early trucks that a lot of people should consider is when you're doing a restoration, there's a lot of different options, the steering wheel included. You may notice that this wheel is a little bit different. It has what's called the pistol grip style steering wheel. It feels really good. It's solid, the thickness is right, and the leather is nice and soft. The one thing that's kind of interesting about it is it has a Brabus logo here and here. I'm not a particularly huge fan of that. However, this is one of the few options out there that has everything we want. So while the Brabus option may not be the ideal go-to, in other words, we're not in love with that name, we're more after just the form and functionality of the actual steering wheel. There's other options where you can get a wood grain or carbon fiber top or more of a squared off or more of a flat bottom. There's a lot of different options out there. And there's no wrong answer for your particular build, but it's just important that you note this and have that cognizant thought that if you're thinking of having your vehicle restored or modified in any way, that this is an option that you can think about, and the world is your oyster. A lot of different ways you can go with the steering wheel. All right, so some of the questions you're gonna get asked on this, or we get asked, is what happens to the odometer whenever you do a complete restoration on a vehicle? That's an interesting question. For this case, this is actually in kilometers, so it's not actually 207,000 miles, it's 207,000 kilometers. But in this case, or in any case, we actually have to leave the odometer alone because it's gonna mess up where the VIN is, where it's titled at, and you don't wanna show a rollback on the odometer. So even though the odometer will keep clicking forward, everything on this truck is brand new. Chassis, axles, drivetrain, body, seats, etc. It's a legal thing. We can't adjust that, unless you're buying a bespoke something from the scratch. But for this case, we had to keep it this. The key thing is, though, we keep records of when it was restored and when it was brought up to this level of condition. And at that point in time, the mileage, especially for insurance purposes, largely becomes null and void. On a particular vehicle like this, after restoration, you definitely want to take the time to have your insurance updated. And we always advise doing a stated value policy, largely because the value of the vehicle has gone up significantly, and it's usually based on current market value plus the cost of the restoration will dictate where the value of it actually is. So that's really important to keep in mind when you're completing a restoration, to make sure you're insured properly, so if something does happen, you can certainly replace it if you had to. All right, guys, so this is a great example. I want to emphasize G-Wagons to us are a blank canvas. That's what we really love about these trucks. There's no wrong answer. There's no pre-contrived notion that it has to be a certain color, it has to be a certain design. Everything is your vision. And this is a case where we took the client's vision, we spoke with him, we understood what his wants, desires, what his must-haves were, and what his nice-to-haves were, and we're able to bring it all together in a wonderfully executed package that just really sings. It pops, it looks great under any light. Everybody that sees it is just like, wow, what is that? And guys, this is a 27-year-old G-Wagon. It's a cabriolet, it is a very special truck, and vehicles like this are definitely worth restoring and bringing up to your perfect vision. Look at this interior. It looks like an incredible place to be anytime in the afternoon. Who would not want to spend time back here checking out the fall foliage in your neck of the woods? The guys really knocked it out of the park. Distressed saddle with the deviated stitching. It is a really gorgeous looking interior. And you know what? It really pops with the final edition top to really set it off against the blue paint. Overall, everything came together so good. Let's close the top and see what it looks like. Not bad, huh? Thanks for watching. This is a beautiful truck. No, it's not for sale, but I look forward to turning your G-Wagon Cabriolet into a masterpiece like this one.